welcome to another brand new episode of Otaku Podcast. My name's Zane, aka Senpai Zane, sometimes Zane Senpai. Welcome. As always, I am joined by my fantastic co-host, Mr. Susu Day. How are you, good sir?
I mean, if you couldn't tell by my dark rings around my eyes,
Yeah.
in a perpetual state of staying up too late playing video games or watching anime, reading manga. So you got to make choices when you're an adult, and sleep isn't one of those choices for me.
Oh, fantastic. I love that lifestyle. Takes me back to younger days.
Well, I'm still living them.
Hey, listen, if you're new to the podcast, make sure you stick around because we've got a great episode today. We're going to come up with some pitch ideas to maybe, well, around anime. Some animes you may know, may not know. But hey, if you come up with a pitch idea, let us know. Just drop it in the comment section down below because we'd love to know what sort of pitch ideas you have. But otherwise, make sure to like, share, and subscribe as always. But first, pitch ideas. So me and Mr. Susu Day, we spoke about this a little bit on last week's episode. But we decided that we will go with IP or manga and anime that people, recognize and may know. So we've came up with a
Ewok
list.
anime was a bit too hot. Came in a bit too hot. I appreciate that. Was it Jawa? No, it was a Jawa.
It was a Jawa one. Yeah, there we go.
Jawa giant mech anime.
So we decided to come up with some pitch ideas. You should go first.
You, my sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to hit off with a anime series. I'll tell you my thought process, actually. So I went two routes. I went for a anime series that is current, and a lot of the other ones are kind of anime series that have ended, but to kind of resurrect that particular anime.
Okay, cool.
So the first one is, again, a current one. A very popular shonen goes by the name of My Hero Academia.
Oh, very intriguing. What is this anime? This story that you speak of?
So the pitch goes: this will be like a single arc. It doesn't have to dabble too much with anything else that's planned. Hell, it could maybe even be like a movie. But the idea is that in this arc there is super teams all around the world, represented different countries. So you have like an American super team, and I've put in brackets here like a Justice League analog. So, kind of playing to the tropes. A British super team, of course, because we're recording live from the UK, which is like an Avengers analog. I also put a legendary Japanese team as well, which is kind of going back to that whole sort of Power Rangers, Sentai.
Yeah, of course, like like precursor heroes.
Yeah, exactly. Like again, the legendary sort of veterans and such. So what would happen is a tournament would be held because shonens love a tournament. Who doesn't love a good tournament arc? Where it's I've got a little Harry Potter here, where it's the Tri-Hero Tournament Cup.
Who's the best hero in the world?
Which leads to a death of a student, possibly, and I've put for a villain like a villain that reoccurs. I've kind of put like possibly like a Joker analog. I know it's kind of a cliche, but it kind of creepy clown sort of, Originally I thought of something like 9 from the second My Hero movie, and thought of maybe if there were more versions of him, because he's the 9th, or I believe he held 9 powers. So what if there was,
along those lines.
a group of them, but then I thought maybe that's a bit too much to just get done in one arc. So I thought we'll squeeze it down to just one main villain that comes back that all these teams recognize, like some sort of legendary supervillain. But yeah, that's kind of the basic of it.
Okay. So we're in the lift. We're on the way down. I'm on my way to a meeting with
this
the
media.
execs. So these hero teams, are there? What is it that defines them from one another, or is it very much just they are in the same way that like the My Hero universe portrays? You have a hero, and you have an agency that's built around a hero. Are they like that, or are they all like top tier heroes that have just come together to get the job done better?
I think the overseas teams have come to spectate the sport, the tournament.
Ah, I see.
So it's kind of a red carpet event, again, similar to the school exams where the top heroes
like when
are
they
watching.
did the it was the sports tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought let's kind of get some analogs in. Everyone loves a good oh, that's a Superman, that's an Iron Man. Like in one universe,
Absolutely.
that's kind of a cool little idea. But yeah, it plays up to a lot of things that we're familiar with, and again, a tournament arc. Nothing excites people more with introduction of other characters from other schools and such. We've seen this from like Naruto.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With the tuning exams and such. So yeah, I think it could be a solid win.
So tell me, we're obviously you're not completely fixed on a villain at this point.
No.
You're what would you say would be the draw for a villain here? What are they? Because if all of these big shots are coming to observe this like tournament, like what is the villain trying to get out of this? Are they just trying to sow chaos, like the League of Villains, or is there a particular student that they're after to see, like to pursue their own gains?
Yeah, definitely. You could spin it in that direction, like because I've put here it leads to a student's death. Again, kind of thinking of Goblet of Fire. It's kind of like the main reference.
Boy! That's my boy.
Exactly. So I kind of wondered, now that you've mentioned it, it could either go one of two ways. The first way is obviously this is an event that has all the big teams together in one place. Could be an opportune moment to attack all these teams. If this was a movie, that would be an amazing spectacle because you get to see all of them in action.
And My Hero has done spectacle in movies very well.
Absolutely. Secondly, you could do a kid has a particular power to maybe in some way heal the villain. Like maybe he was off grid again, kind of a bit like Voldy. He's off grid. There's a kid with the power that could heal him that never been done before, and they exploit that power.
So I really like that because My Hero has done that already. So I think that it works very well because obviously 9 was seeking the wee boy because he wanted his power to heal in order so his body to survive what he was doing to it.
Yeah,
but still, even Shonen is all about do-overs. It's all about taking the content you've used and reskinning it.
Rinse, lather, and repeat.
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely. Anyways,
you know what? I'm gonna speak to the bosses about this. I think they might be interested by this one. I haven't taken any of your details, but I will get back to you.
Hey, worst case scenario, our email address will be in the description down below. So if Viz Media, if Shonen Jump, if Image Comics, DC Comics, Marvel are listening, they can reach out to you boys because our details
Oh,
will be in the description down below.
well, goodness.
Yeah, yeah,
What
right.
a day that would be.
Let's throw it out into the universe.
Let's pitch in. We're not like trying to get new jobs or anything like that.
Oh no, not us. So
Wow.
if you want to send your emails to into the otakuversepod@gmail.com.
Very nice. Very nicely done, Zane. Very nicely done. Guess that brings it to me.
Mr. Susu Day to serve.
Okay. So I've actually gone for my whole thought process different to yours. I've actually gone for 2 finished titles,
Ooh.
and it's in order to add an arc or a story to it,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel would be good. Like
Nice.
maybe it's to bridge a gap because there's time skips and whatnot, or maybe it's
Okay.
just to explore characters that haven't been explored before, or not as fully as I personally would have liked them explored. So
Ooh.
my first title is either an arc played
Mm-hmm.
over between 4 to 8 episodes,
Oh, nice. You put a number
maybe
against
or
it.
maybe an OVA.
Nice. Yeah.
Sword Art Online.
Oh.
I would like, and this is what I'm pitching here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm pitching here. An arc which focuses on Klein as the main character.
Wow.
So for the uninitiated,
Mm-hmm.
or if you just have a limited understanding, Klein is a character who was introduced in the opening episode of Sword Art Online, who the
Yeah.
primary protagonist, Kirito, helped to get started in Sword Art Online before the Death game began.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was thinking of is that the arc would follow Klein after Kirito leaves the starting town and leaves him behind, and it will show him the kind of journey he goes on in order to reunite with his clanmates, and then go on to lead them to become one of the prominent guilds that are like the front runners fighting all like the boss monsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason why I thought about this, the reason for I thought it'd be really good is because you can see I'm reading from something down here because I
That's
brought
fine.
my iPad into the airlift with us, um, my nameless tablet device. Um, the reason it intrigues me is
Mm,
that I'm always interested about following a side character who maybe not to the degree as the protagonist has worked really hard
sure.
to achieve power. They've been chasing after the protagonist using what they were taught by them.
Mm,
He's shown as a character, he's shown to be a strong fighter and a loyal friend, and I really think it would be interesting
yeah.
to follow a character who played the game in a clan as opposed to someone who, like Kirito, the legendary black swordsman, did
Mm-hmm.
everything solo
Yeah.
except when they came together for the bosses. Um, we always get those kind of characters that are kind of like they're there because they're like kind of joke characters.
Yeah.
Klein is one of those offenders. But another thing that really interests me about him is the fact that unlike most of the characters, like most of the characters, obviously like teenagers,
yeah.
Klein is an adult.
Yeah.
Um, so he's got different mindsets and
Mm,
views, and I'd love to see kind of like what a character like that's view would be of the whole situation, because you do encounter players who are adults in the main
yeah.
story, and they are either kind of very passive or they've been led to do quite like horrific things.
Yeah.
But I would love to see like Klein as a third party observing Asuna and Kirito's journey,
Yeah.
like from that outside perspective. I do think it's a very niche idea. I do think it's
Sure.
like a very niche arc. It wouldn't be something that a lot that like some people would like. It'd be something that other people would like.
Right.
But like I said, always interesting to explore characters who are shown regularly but don't get any actual like proper screen time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's definitely a point to be made because a few things that run through my mind. Number one, he, as you say, he doesn't have the sort of gamer knowledge when he first goes in. So it's going to be a sort of more slower pace to the main story, because he's not going to kind of like progress as fast because he doesn't know so much how to level up. The thing that kind of jumped to my mind straight away was something like Shield Hero, where it's that kind of methodical sort of process of leveling up and learning, and like you say, the sort of moral choices as well for someone who's slightly older. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
And things of that nature. So yeah, I kind of dig that. Also, it's a side story. I mean, if the Fate series has ever taught us anything, is that you can spin and spin and spin and spin and make another
Absolutely.
spin-off from the main
And
story.
they've already done it as well. To be fair, they've obviously, I mean, Sword Art Online is based off a light novel,
Yes.
and they've done a couple of light novels that have followed Asuna as the main character,
Mm.
as opposed to Kirito, because the books are written in first person.
Yes.
They've also done like other shows like Gun Gale
Gun Gale.
Online
Yeah, yeah.
Alternative and stuff, which follows different characters. The show or the story has set up these like amazing like fantasy game worlds,
Mm-hmm.
but we're always fixed on those particular characters. And I think that there's so much room to explore a space like that through the eyes of someone who isn't trying to power level to get as strong as possible and
Yeah.
doing it on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's a
definitely.
very different mindset, because the story is set up for, you know, that he's going to end up being the strongest. Whereas for someone like Klein, it would be he's gonna seem to be working harder to get there,
Or
because
to
he's also going to
survive.
be bringing his friends up with him. Like he's not
Yeah.
just like doing it alone. He's got to look out for his friends. He's got to help them
Mm.
get to the same place as him. And I think that that could be very interesting. So,
Absolutely. I really like that. You again, I know you mentioned episodic. Even as like a 3 or 4 part OVA, I think that'd be
mm.
really nice because you get like a good budget. There's no sort of constraints to deliver like week on week. It can really breathe and
Yeah.
have those real big character development moments. I really like that.
And throw in some of like, because like Sword Art's got some pretty like crisp fight scenes.
Mm,
Throw in some of those, but with a character who isn't as skilled. You know, like they're
yes.
obviously strong enough to be like one of the front runners of the game, like to help all the other players escape from it. But like,
Mm,
you know, throw the fight into for someone who isn't the legendary hero. You know,
yeah. He kind of
like
leans into that samurai sort of character design as well, doesn't he?
yeah.
So
And I think
the
it could be some really good like fight scenes. Like we've seen him fight in, but as a side character, I'd be interested to see him be the focus of like a boss fight
mm,
or something.
yeah, 100%,
So, and
100%.
that's my pitch there for Sword Art
Cool.
Online,
That
the
was
Klein
nice.
arc.
The Klein arc. I like it. Sign me up. Book it. Okay. Just having a look at my list. Do you want another biggie?
Yeah, dish it up.
Dish it up. Okay. So picture this: another shonen, that
Okay.
has had a resurgence of recently. Now, admittedly, I'm not up to date with the manga, so I couldn't say if some of this happens or not. But my pitch is for Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, do go on, because I am up to date with the manga. so,
So my story takes place after the events of the anime because I'm up to date with the anime. So the tournament of power has taken place, all fun and giggles, hooray! My pitch is Goku and Vegeta decide to go training and travel these other worlds with Wits and Beerus. So they go training, takes them off the board. Basically, I want them out of here. There's
okay.
not going to be a Goku or Vegeta saving the day. Wipe your tears; they're gone.
Okay. So let's assume that I can get. Let's assume that the moment that they leave, I'm not going. Nah, this ain't for me, man. Let's assume that I am gripped by the idea of someone else having to step up, because I am.
We're gonna rip this band-aid off. So
Okay.
they're gone. I'm gonna throw everything whilst they're gone.
Come
So Future Trunks appears.
Okay.
Classic. We know he went to his own sort of timeline or world or wherever it was, but basically he's back. He's beaten, he's bruised, he's out of breath. Classic sort of messenger Future Trunks. But he tells the Z Fighters that his world is gone. And the reason it's gone is because the Saiyans are back. The Saiyans are back.
Alright.
So it goes crazy. So the Saiyans are back. It's going to happen to their version of world because I want Cooler to be the big bad. And you're probably thinking, why would Cooler want the Saiyans? And my idea is that there's been a vacuum, like since Frieza died, since his force was gone, since the original Saiyan saga, him and his family have been not as lucrative as they once were. So what made them lucrative, what made them conquerors? The Saiyans. So he, I don't know, gets the Dragon Balls, wishes back, Saiyans, poof, they're back. First planet to get taken over, to sell, to, you know, everything that they used to do, Earth.
Okay.
So it's down to Gohan and Future Trunks to protect Earth. They're the last sort of line. It also means the rest of the Z Fighters have to up their game slightly. Not to say that they haven't been, but you know, it kind of pushes them back in the focus because let's use them. At the same time, we get a load of interactions. So I want interactions from Trunks facing off against Nappa and Raditz. I want interactions with Gohan and Bardock. And then I want Bardock to train Gohan specifically. And he teaches him Super Saiyan 4, which sounds crazy, but it's the same premise as God saying prayer. You know, the four of them line up, they pray, and the Saiyan becomes Super Saiyan 4. So that's kind of the long and short of it. Yeah.
Okay,
Thoughts?
let me stop you right there while you stop. I love this. So the reason that I love this so much is because basically you've reintroduced the Saiyans as like an antagonistic force to some
Yes.
degree. And the heroes that you're pitting up against them are half human.
Yes.
Which is why this interests me so much, because and I could see this playing out in my head, like every Saiyan that Trunks and Gohan encounter are gonna think less of them for not being pure-blood Saiyan.
Yeah.
And I imagine that they're gonna get like smacked down a couple of times before they're by Saiyans, before they're in a position where they can like dominate them, you know?
Yeah, and I specifically pointed out the Trunks facing Raditz and Nappa, because Nappa and Raditz are supposed to be elite Saiyans like Vegeta. And again, like you say, like that whole interaction of this is Vegeta's son, and you know, kind of pushes them into an awkward situation. I could have Raditz again face off against Gohan, but we've kind of already seen that in one way, and maybe
we saw him get kicked around.
And we could cross those paths again, but specifically that was Vegeta's team. They were, you know, a cell at one point, weren't they? So yeah.
The other reason that I love this, and it ties back into Gohan and Trunks as well, it's because we're following that amazing like kind of trope of the mantle being kind of unintentionally being passed on to the next generation.
Yeah.
You've got like the son of Goku and the son of Vegeta. like standing up to do what their fathers would be doing if
Mm.
they were here, but they're not here. So someone has to stand up. And you'd obviously have, like, I imagine you'd have, well, I guess the young Trunks would be there as well as Goten,
Yeah, exactly. And
which should be interesting interactions as well, to be fair.
yeah, definitely. And because they cross paths with their own sort of people in a weird way, like people they've only heard about in stories and whatnot. The other sort of thing I thought of, but I'm not quite sure how I'd get there, is King Vegeta crossing paths with Trunks. So again, the grandfather meeting the grandson sort of dynamic. I imagine it would be completely different to Gohan and Bardock's sort of interaction. Because again, he's not an elite warrior. He's, everything else but what his true desires were. So, yeah. Also, Broly's off the table. He's still on his planet. Maybe we'd have a scene where the Saiyans kind of jump him on his, like, fun planet.
Yeah, on his own planet. I was actually
Yeah.
going to say, like, is there any chance that we can get Broly into this for a scene? Because, but I think it would even just be cool, as even if it was like a literal like couple of seconds where like Broly is like leaves like the cave where their little capsule house is.
Hmm.
This is assuming we're going to go with the movie canon that's been added in.
Yeah.
He comes
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
that, and he kind of like he senses something, and he looks up to the sky, and what he's sensing is like Saiyans,
Yeah.
but he doesn't actually encounter them. He's far enough removed that it's not something that he could know for sure. But it's kind of like he gets this familiar, like nostalgic feeling in his blood.
Yeah, exactly. It will cut to him because he is a Saiyan. Like, I'm not going to kind of just leave him out altogether. So yeah, that was kind of like my thought process. There was one last thing as well. There's the cooler. The Saiyans would be stronger because they've been brought back to life. So again,
Yeah, like would the wish had been to bring them back, but bring them back like at like 10 times the strength that they were, or something along those lines.
yeah. So not necessarily like they're all Super Saiyans because that just washes that out already. But they're
Yeah.
strong enough to be a challenge, especially for the Earthlings. Because again, I want the Z fighters back in the fold. I want to see Piccolo take on, some of the elite Saiyans and stuff. So yeah.
No, I am all about this. I would eagerly await every single episode of an arc like this. I think it's got all the right ingredients.
Hmm.
I can't remember. There was what was the arc? It was actually the start. It was like the first part of the Freezer arc, which kind of in a way did this not exactly the same, but like it focused on Gohan,
Hmm. Yeah.
because Gohan and Krillin obviously go off with Bulma, don't they, to Namek
Yeah.
and stuff, and Gohan obviously a little bit older, still like a child, but he obviously went on that journey, and he was forced into fights that usually his father would be like dealing with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's that intensity as well because you kind of like, I don't want to see Gohan like getting beaten up and his fear is your fear as well because he's like, I'm not as strong as my dad and I got to do this to bring Piccolo back and everything else. So
I
yeah.
would really love it if like during this particular arc it could be a situation where it could be re-explored Gohan's innate power, because he's obviously this
Hmm.
legendary warrior,
Yeah.
like as foretold.
Yeah.
Like he's got this like incredible power. He just is never in a position to utilize it. I'd love to see him,
Mhm.
like, maybe I'm not saying like a new form of Super Saiyan. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not talking like he has like his own version of like Ultra Instincts, but that sort of thing. There was one final thing. I think it was actually just more a passing comment, and I think is, as we all know, nothing drives a Saiyan to get stronger than fighting another Saiyan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very good. I am titillated. This is good, top tier elevator pitch. I've hit the brake the emergency stop on this lift. Not going anywhere. Listen to the whole story, and now we're waiting for the rescue guys to come and get us out.
No, I'm glad you like it. It was just everything I wanted to see, and again, I know the Super Saiyan 4 thing is a kind of a gimmicky thing because it's a new form, but it kind of ties in to GT, and it also again gives something that Gohan can put his hat on.
Yeah, something that his dad hasn't got or achieved in this canon anyway.
Yeah, being the first to reach Super Saiyan 2 was great until his dad did Super Saiyan 3, but it'd be nice to kind of replicate that in some weird way. Anyways.
Absolutely.
Mr. Susu Day.
Put my glasses back on. So, my next pitch. This is part of the basic part of me.
Oh.
This is a very there's some fights, there's some tension, but this is more slice of life than I think that a lot of people would like. But I'm talking about what I want, not what everyone wants. So picture this. The anime, Naruto Shippuden.
Oh.
Story comes to a close at the end of Shippuden, yes.
Okay.
And then we get the movie Naruto the Last, and then we get Boruto, next Ninja Generations. What I would love to see, and this is what I'm pitching right now, is a bridging arc.
Ooh.
So it's in a very classic Naruto fashion. These could be considered filler episodes, and everyone loves the filler episodes. And the arc would bridge the gap between the close of the Great Ninja War and the final episode. So it's kind of between the last two episodes, because obviously the last episode goes on to show that time skip, doesn't it? Like
yeah.
So it would be set. It would be set between those two episodes.
Okay.
And it would basically explore in 2 to 3 episode chunks what became of the characters in this world following the final battle. Because, well, Naruto the Last, phenomenal movie. I love it to bits.
Yeah.
And it was a great movie, and it did a great job of showing Konoha after its full recovery.
Yeah.
But what I would like the arc to explore is the character developments that were just like kind of left out until we kind of left in a situation where we just kind of assume what happened and how it happened when we get to the final episode or get to Boruto. So examples of this that we've got here are obviously at the end of the story, like Sasuke and Sakura have obviously kind of bridged some sort of gap, but they're a long way away from being what they are in Boruto, whatever that is. I would like to see what the hell happened that caused Sasuke to warm for them to end up in a situation where they have a daughter together and he comes home for like dinner sometime.
Aren't they married as well?
They are. They are.
Yeah.
Which is like I want to see these bridging things. I want to like we're just kind of left to assume that kind of after the battle everything just fell into place, and I don't think it would have. I think it would have still been like kind of Sakura doing a lot of chasing because Sasuke would have like tried to get the hell out of there straight away probably. Like we've obviously got things like Sai and Ino.
Yeah.
Because Ino was obsessed with Sasuke. And she'd obviously shown interest in Sai, but I want to see how she stopped being obsessed with Sasuke and gone on. Like even things like Choji and Kari.
That was the first one I thought of.
How? Like when did this happen? Like I want to know because she's from another village entirely. I want to know how this happened. Like we kind of know that Shikamaru and Tamari were heading in that direction, but I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see how these actually like kind of came to place, and I think that could be really done if you just gave me an arc, which is just giving me like 2 or 3 episodes of like we're going to explore this character and what happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't just be relationships. I'd also like it to just kind of explore the work that was done post-war,
Yeah.
like in the ways that all the villages kind of helped each other recover. Like a couple of small missions here and there that would
Yeah.
show the villages kind of cooperating and doing stuff. And you'd imagine that post-war, and there always are post-war,
Mm-hmm.
there are opportunists who would try
Yes.
and seek to seize wealth for power while the world is
Mm.
weaker. And that would make obviously a great kind of like overarching, like you could have like an overarching like organization that
Yeah.
is like over the course of these episodes, and they show up in little ways in every single episode before you get to like the last couple of episodes where like, okay, well,
Mm.
okay, there's this organization that's trying to like take over,
Mm-hmm.
take over power. They're trying to use this X power that they've obtained to gain control over the whole ninja world. And then all the villages would come together. I'm not looking for like kind of like a party episode where it's like there's too much going on. But,
Sure.
I'd love to see like a team of Konoha Ninja get together to kind of like stop it.
Yeah,
Um,
there's basically an A plot and a B plot that runs
yeah,
simultaneously, similar to
but
like a CW show sort of thing.
yeah, I'm kind of just in that place with this idea where it's born from my need to explore characters that we've known a very, very long time and get a
100%.
better understanding of just how we got from point A to point B. Because
Yeah,
I know how you got from point A to point A B, but I
yeah,
need to know what happens. I know how you got to here. I know this
yeah.
here. What's going on in this here before we get to this?
Yeah,
And I'm
definitely.
sure that a lot of people are happy to kind of like live with the mystery.
Mm,
But I'm a big fan of like slice of life stories and like shoujo
yeah,
like stories. So like I'm sometimes it doesn't need to be about the battle. Sometimes it can like just give me that good character development. Show me how. Like give me a couple of episodes that like show Naruto and Hinata acting awkwardly
yes. Whilst
and stuff. Because
dating.
obviously that's because I mean that's explored in the last. Like they get together in the last, but I'd love to see a couple of episodes after that, a set after that, where it's like kind of yeah, well, this is a thing now, and everyone's gone like, oh my god, when did this happen? She's liked you like since you were like 5 years old, you know. And I'd also like to
Yeah.
see more of like the things that like obviously Naruto's a war hero
Yes.
and stuff. He's like the hero of the Great Ninja War, but I'd love to see like because he obviously didn't just get made Hokage. He's obviously
No.
continued to do stuff in service to the village, and
Yeah.
I want to see that stuff. Like I love a time skip. It's a great storytelling device.
hmm
Great way to like kind of change the pace.
Yes.
And I don't think it was done poorly. I just think that by doing a time skip, you lose out on an opportunity to tell stories that are otherwise going to be left to the imagination. And
Yeah.
I mean, I could just go on to any number of fanfic sites and find out what people think, but
Yes.
I'd like to know what the creator thought. I want to know
Yeah.
what their intention was. Ooh,
No,
pardon me.
I completely agree with you. I think one thing that probably gets mentioned from time to time is the world building in Naruto. It's such a rich world with rich characters. Say what you will about Sakura's development, but there are some rich characters there. And like you said, there's characters that we've all grown up with, like Gara and Tamari and, Rock Lee and everything. And it it is trying to understand how they got to from AB, as you rightly said, to
Yeah.
B. Uh,
Rock Lee has a son. When he's so awkward, like Rock Lee is such an awkward guy.
mm,
How? How did I want to see a couple of episodes where this happens?
yeah, no, I completely agree with you. As well as as again, because we care so much about these characters, I was shocked that Shino was a teacher, just a academy teacher. He wasn't kind
Yeah.
of like a big, massive jonin sort of ninja. But then I guess that's not everyone. Things in life change. But what was that thing in Shino's life that made him change to be
Yeah, what made him decide to be a teacher? Like
mm,
what inspired that? He had obviously spent a lot of the time kind of being somewhere between being a joke and being moderately powerful.
yes.
Because it was always overlooks, and that was his like gag, wasn't it? Like, and
Yeah.
now as a teacher, that's the gag that they keep running with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree with your pitch. The only other thing that comes to mind as well is I know there was a series of books on individual characters like Shikamaru called The Road to Shikamaru or The Road to Sakura. And I haven't read them, but
Ah,
I've heard that they are good because, for example, The Road to Sakura, you get to see a lot of her sort of medical ninjutsu being used um,
see,
outside
that
of the
that's
war
that's
and
good
stuff.
stuff that
Hmm.
I've not explored. I'm gonna seek that out now because I feel like that might give me some of what I looked for when I was thinking of this arc.
Yeah.
But there are still so many there's more characters than you could honestly you couldn't portray all of them,
No,
but
no, no.
still,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
definitely.
opportunity.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. Um, I'm going to be a bit of a dick. I've got a Naruto pitch as well. It's nowhere near as extensive as yours. It's very flimsy, shall we say? So my
Workshop it.
my Naruto pitch was I'm not too sure where this is set. It could be set in Boruto. It could be set, like you say, just after Shippuden. Uh, but I've called it the Age of Samurai. And the pitch is that the samurai influence is outdwarfing the ninja, because we were exposed to the sort of Iron Country, I think they were referred to.
Yes, towards the end of Shippuden because they went to the Iron Country in order to have the like one of the summits, didn't they?
Yeah, the Hokage summit, which Sasuke attacked and everything. So my pitch is that their influence is dwarfing the need of the ninja one, and it's on the brink of starting a new era where the Hokages are no longer needed. So the idea of that the feudal laws are kind of favoring more of the samurai because they're less collateral, shall we say, or there's less bingo books, sort of rogue ninjas and rogue samurais, I should say, and things of that nature. So the whole premise is again that their influence is becoming more reached. It could be similar to your own story where you said there's an organization, could be an organization of samurai. Um, but I feel like that was one thing I think I may have mentioned on this podcast before, but I think that was one thing they may have missed. Because again, I think we're slightly introduced to mercenaries and bandits in the sort of Zabuza arc because you kind of see similar sort of samurai
Yeah,
types that they go up against. But yeah, I always wanted to see more of that. I got to see plenty of stuff, but it was one thing I'd love to have seen more.
yeah,
And
I do 100% agree with that because this is obviously a ninja story, but then you appeal to this weeaboo in me you show me that there are samurais in this world,
hmm,
and they're not just like one or two people here and there. They're like a whole nation of samurai.
yeah,
I want to look, and then I know that like in Naruto,
hmm,
there was a filler arc which focused on a samurai character.
yeah,
Couldn't tell you when it was set, like exactly when it's set, but I know that there was an arc which followed like a rogue samurai who was on the run from his like comrades or something like that. But still, I would love to see something around the samurai,
hmm,
even if it was just done like as its own like separate like just as its own separate thing, or maybe how a lot of stories do okay, this is what happened if this happened. However, we're going to be exploring what happened if this had happened
yeah,
instead.
like a what
And
if sort
yeah,
of.
and
Hmm.
what if stories are great, especially in like comic.
Hmm. Yeah, they
So
do happen quite often. So yeah, again, that's as much thought as I've given it. I don't know characters. I couldn't tell you if it is just an arc. Well, I guess it would be an arc or an OVA. But again, it's just kind of like raise that profile of samurai, because any other person you walk up to in the street and you say ninja, they'll think of samurai as well in a similar light. So,
Yeah, they're two kind of like sides of the same coin.
mm,
In the history of Japan, aren't they? To be fair, like the
yeah.
samurai were they were the front-facing force,
Hmm.
whereas the ninja were kind of like they were the spies, they were the recon.
Yeah.
Like they all would be serving like the shogunate. So
Hmm.
yeah, phenomenal. I really like that.
Thank you. I'm going to spin off these last two ideas
Yeah, go
just
ahead because
before
I
we
don't have anything else.
just before we wrap up. So, on the subject of samurai, I thought of a Bleach arc.
Okay.
So the scene is people, for some unknown reason, are starting to get Fullbringer powers. Everyday teenagers are getting Fullbringer powers. They're popping up here and there all over. Is it Karaku Town or something along those lines? I can't remember the name of the town now. Fullbringers are popping up. But the flip side of that is Vizards are popping up all over the town as well. People discovering these abilities and stuff like that, which leads to a Visor and Fullbringer war.
Ooh.
So the premise is, again, random teenagers are getting these powers. They kind of become groups and kind of, find kinship within kind of, recognizing each other's powers and things of that nature. Kind of like, to an extent, like an X-Men sort of thing, hey, you've got a weird power, or maybe even Tokyo Ghoul to an extent, it's all about people with similar sort of powers and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
This leads to like a gang-like mentality, and in my notes I've put it kind of leads to a gang-like mentality. This kind of brings Bleach back to like the street level that it started off being, and there are flickers of it here and there, especially like the opening of the Fullbringer arc. I kind of really like that vibe where it's like in clubs and stuff like that. I also put maybe the return of Jagger Jack, or Hollow that dreams of being a human again.
The reason that I really like this story is because I think that it would be well placed in a world after the conclusion of the Bleach manga, when there's been a lot of events. I mean, is it too late? Is it late enough to start talking about spoilers of Bleach? I have to assume that people who are watching or reading Bleach know how Bleach ends.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess the only thing is there's the Burn the Witch sort of manga.
That's separate, though. That's not Bleach. That's a completely separate story. But yeah, like I think like a lot of stuff happens in the end of Bleach, which would, I'd say, lead to a situation where the Shinigami presence and the Hollow presence might not be quite the same as it was in Ichigo's time.
Yeah.
And before then. So, like you said, I'd love for it to see it like back at street level, and to kind of like not at like this massive giant battle degree, like kind of at a very minimum scale, whereas
Yeah.
it can go under the radar
Yeah.
enough that like the Shinigami are not going to get involved.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really like that.
And I guess it's kind of whose side do you fall on as well, because the way I picture it or imagine it is that, again, it's this whole sort of gang mentality. So it's kind of like they take one of ours out, we take one of theirs. It can sound really horrible and brutal, but I'm trying to think of a certain anime. K Project is kind of like a gang thing.
Yeah.
As well as there's another one I thought of, Dura.
Dura. Yeah.
Again, there's kind of gang sort of stuff in that. Either
This
way,
would work out really good for like kind of like relationships as well. Like in terms of this, like you'd have like your protagonist on one side, you got your protagonist on the other side, and they keep coming to blows.
yeah,
And eventually it ends up that they're the ones who kind of like realize that actually should they be fighting each other or should they be fighting this other thing which is happening that no one
mm,
is noticing because they're too busy fighting each other. You know?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I thought it'd be a nice sort of like poetic sort of thing to have a Hollow or a Arankar or something. I don't know about Arankar because they kind of have a human form anyway, but a
Yeah,
Hollow that dreams to be human and is maybe the one behind creating all these like Fullbringers and Vizards.
maybe. Very good, very good. I like that. That actually makes me also. It's basically a mirror image of my Shippuden arc. I would because there's another time skip between the last couple of chapters of
Mm,
Bleach where it
yeah,
goes like years in the future and everyone's kind of moved on and doing all this different stuff. I want to see what happened in between them. You know, I want to
yeah.
just have some of those nice slice of life questions answered for me.
Yeah, I completely get where you're coming from. And again, it's kind of like get the gamis off the table. Let's kind of look at new characters and not think like, oh, Shimigami's going to jump in and save the day at any moment. Maybe one or two do pop in, but maybe they just
Yeah,
get taken out like for stupid reasons. So yeah.
maybe there's something that's preventing the Shinigami from getting to the town,
Hmm.
but no one's aware of it because any Hollow that do show up are getting taken out by these two opposing groups,
Yeah. Exactly that. Exactly that.
but they don't realize that the whole town is in some sort of bubble. Maybe it's one of those situations where the powers you can only use the power while you're inside of the bubble of the town, and if you were to leave the town, you don't have those powers anymore.
Yeah.
A lot to think about.
Lot to think about. There you go. My last pitch. Oh boy. Um, I don't want you to get too excited about this,
I'm
but
so excited.
I know this is a favorite of ours, and I'm going to try and do it justice. So I would bring back Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay, bring it on. Tell me what you got. What you got in mind?
So what I've got in mind is a female lead,
Hmm.
um, who became state alchemist, of course.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing: kind of similar to Ed in a way. She could. I don't know what I was writing.
Fever dream.
Yeah, exactly. So her actual alchemy, shall we say, the thing that she did was that she could transfer memories into other people or other beings.
Unusual.
Yeah. Um, transfer memories. The big bad is someone who could cancel out alchemy altogether.
Okay.
Um, will take it away. They'll also start a revolution against the state alchemists. Maybe a cosmic event happens like a eclipse or a planet alignment. Now, the other thing to mention as well, she actually imprisoned someone in her soul.
Okay.
So it's not. So what she thought. Here's the background story. What she thought she transferred, say, a friend or someone else's memories into her own. It wasn't their memories; it was their soul. So she did similar to what Ed did to Alphonse with the suit of armor, but into a pre-hosting body. If I'm
Okay.
explaining that right,
No, no, I get what you're saying.
I wanted to Avatar Korra this in a way that
You said it before I could say it, because this story is giving me big Korra vibes.
I was just trying
But
to.
it would work. It would work so well in like a Fullmetal Alchemist world.
Mm,
Absolutely. Like, it's always great when you've got a story where there's like kind of like a dominant like kind of force, and then insurgents cause people to rise up against it.
yeah.
And then at the end, you're kind of like, okay, well, whose side actually am I on this? And then the main character has to battle with the idea of, okay, maybe some of the stuff that the state alchemists have been doing, well, and the military have been doing, isn't great, but
Mm,
still, what these people are doing is like terrorism. It's like there's got to be a better way, you know?
yeah, and I
Maybe
think
maybe like towards the end, she's looking for answers, and she encounters Old Man Ed or Old Man Alphonse, and they don't reveal who they are, but they give like some really good advice.
exactly. I kind of want that as well. It's I did kind of play with the idea of maybe she had maybe one of them were her teacher, like Ed or something, and he was the one who was trapped inside her, but you wouldn't know. You would just see a silhouette sort of thing, kind of similar to his visions of the truth, where it was like a
Okay,
silhouette of a
yeah,
person. I kind of wanted to play on that, but then I thought, no, that's let him have his happy ending.
yeah. Don't drag him into the soul of a teenage girl.
Yeah. Um, but again, I wanted to. The only way I could have seen this working, because Fullmetal Alchemist does so much, like the homunculus, the sort of god complex of the father. Like it felt like no stone had been unturned with that series, and I was like, what else was there to be left to said? And I just thought if there was like some sort of story, maybe about the evolution of technology, again, kind of similar to Korra, that
Yeah,
technology is
where
probably the
everything's taken a leap forward.
yeah,
Alchemy is now used in a much different way, in the
mm,
same way that bending was used in a like to power the industries.
yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
so yeah, that's kind of my pitch.
I
There's
like it.
something.
It's good. Good stuff.
Thanks. I didn't think it was good as some of my other pitches. That's why I had it last on my list because I was kind of like, how do I full metal?
Yeah. I
But
mean, to
yeah.
be fair, it's the sort of thing that like if it was ever something that you wanted to like pursue,
Hmm.
like even if it wasn't Full Metal, you could easily workshop that yourself and turn that into kind of a story that you do yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like Full Metal Alchemist. It could just very well be your own IP.
Yeah. No, I see what you're
So
saying. Maybe we should write
maybe we
it.
should. But who's got the time, eh?
Who's got the time and the
we, we, we,
funds?
we, we would we would honestly we'd write it down in the calendar and be like, oh, every single time it came around, be like, oh, got all this other stuff to do. The
Oh
old
my
men,
god.
like, oh, are we gonna do that? And it's like, no, we're gonna drink rum
Oh.
on this porch.
Watch the world go by.
Watch the world go by. Leave the manga. Leave the story writing for the young. Our stories are over, and then we crumble into dust.
A bit like in Jujutsu Kaisen, where he just kind of like he turns back around, he's just dead. His like granddad's already dead in the bed. Like,
Absolutely. That's
oh,
it. That's it.
there we go.
Wow. Fascinating.
What a episode. I think we've had some great pitches.
Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah.
Like time just flew by.
Wow. I enjoyed every moment of it.
Every single moment. It feels like 8 hours have passed, but actually been barely an hour.
Barely.
But
Hey. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I'm just gonna do finger guns.
But hey, if you enjoyed these pictures, let us know in the comments down below. We'd really appreciate if you give this podcast a star rating on your favorite podcast platform. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. All our social medias will also be in the description, so if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do. And let us know your thoughts. If you really like this episode, if you want us to do more pitches, then hey, let us know. Any final words from you, Mr. Susu Day?
If it's a hot day
Hmm.
and you eat a popsicle,
Ooh.
make sure you don't take too long eating that popsicle, or it will fall in your lap and
Wise
you'll look a
words.
fool. Stay hydrated, kids.
100%. Definitely. Again, thank you so much for watching or listening. And no doubt we will catch you on the next one. What will our next episode be, by the way? You got any ideas what the next one should be?
I mean, well, let's look at nameless tablet device and work something out in the interim. Because this is a very, very well planned podcast. I can vouch for this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There is, contrary to popular belief, there is a list, and episodes are discussed before they're filmed.
The first one that jumps up to me, name the first anime that comes to mind, filler/canon.
Wow, I think it might be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, and we will catch you on the next episode of Otaku Podcasts. Peace out.